Men in Black International with Chris Hemsworth, Tessa Thompson, Liam Neeson, the bad guy from Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. I believe his name is Rafe or something like that, who I wrote a blog about it, and I had some issues with him as the bad guy in that movie. And I kind of carried over to this movie. I felt like I had some issues with him in this movie. It's just something is not clicking with him and me. I don't know. It's on me. It's personal. Apologies to him. But I mean, really what it boils down to is Kumail Nanjiani, the Pakistani comic from The Big Sick. He's the one who pretty much stole the show. I mean, he plays a little alien type creature, probably that big, who is a pawn who serves a queen. His, spoiler alert. I mean, spoiler alert. Stuff happens. Okay. I'll just say that stuff happens. But he ends up serving Tessa Thompson. He becomes her servant, and he's kind of, he's like the best part of the movie. He's the funniest part of the movie because he has got the best lines and whatnot. But he reminds me of, and this is, no one's going to get this, but whatever. The Great Gazoo from the Flintstones and the Jetsons, I believe. The Great Gazoo is like this Martian type character, very small, very green, had a big helmet with antenna. And that character was introduced like later on in the series when I guess they had run out of ideas for a cartoon, which is like, how do you run out of ideas for a cartoon? And they introduced this character, the Great Gazoo, and the Great Gazoo is just kind of like flying around and like making all these quips and whatever remarks, and it widely regarded as like the downfall of the show. The Great Gazoo was universally hated by a lot of people, and they is often used as like the symbol of jumping the shark. Like, I know jumping the shark is its own thing with the Fonz jumping over sharks, and that's how it got came to prominence. But the Great Gazoo is like the second most prominent like symbol of jumping the shark. Just like, let's just introduce a new character to this dying franchise, and maybe that character will like infuse some energy. And I got that vibe from Kumail Nanjiani and his character. Like, okay, Tessa Thompson and Chris Hemsworth aren't enough for you, even though that blows my mind because they've done so well, chemistry wise, paired together with the Thor franchise. That you got to introduce Kumail Nanjiani. It worked, but it's like, let's not lean on that too much. There were some other issues with it. I mean, everyone that, I watched it with my wife and her friend, and we all just kind of felt like there was just something missing. There was something off about it. And it's like, I know Chris Hemsworth has been applauded and praised for his, comedic bearings, his comedic chops, if you will. But I don't know that he's able to pull off a lot of the jokes that maybe Will Smith did, or even the deadpan humor of Tommy Lee Jones. I don't know. Liam Neeson is not a funny person. Rip Torn was funny. Even just like how Tessa Thompson's character like gets into the agency seems so easy. Emma Thompson, is that her name? So she sneaks into the agency. She sets up a phony something and chases down or follows the Men in Black to their agency headquarters. She gets in, she walks in past this guard who's like reading a newspaper and very cash about everything. And even he's like, yeah, I know, I should have stopped her. And it's like, it just felt lazy. Like in The Pug from like the first trilogy or whatever is there, and he makes a comment and it's like, really, you're just gonna let her walk in? You let her walk in, and she like goes up this elevator, and they stop her in the elevator, and they held her captive. And it's like, that scene is, in my mind, like too short and not emotional enough. Like, this is her lifelong dream, is to be part of this agency. She's already gone to the FBI and CIA, and she's been like, wink, wink, I know. And they're like, oh, what are you talking about? she finally gets to where she needs to be. And Emma Thompson is like this authority figure who's heading up the United States branch of Men in Black. And of course they do a little one-liner to talk about how like shouldn't be called Men in Black. It should be called, I guess, People in Black, Persons in Black, because there are women that are part of the organization and operation. And that interaction with Emma Thompson, is it Emma Thompson? Tessa Thompson and Emma Thompson. That does not sound right. Anyway, there's an interaction and it's like a little back and forth and they're like, all right, you're in on a probationary period. And it's like, what? I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more of like repeated attempts. Like here's the first attempt. Nope. Here's the second attempt. Oh, so close. Nope. Here's the third attempt. Yep. In. That's traditionally, I think would work better as opposed to, oh, you said this one thing. Oh, she like turned away from the neuralyzer. Oh, she knows something. Let's leave, I don't know. The way they handled that, it felt like this doesn't feel fulfilling for that character or for us as the audience. But yeah, so I mean, the other part that I won't go deep into the review, but like, okay, you set up in the first part how she befriends this like alien character that the Men in Black are after as a kid. And we go a pretty extensive amount of time without seeing that little alien character. We're like in the back of your head, savvy movie watchers are like, okay, that little alien character is going to play a part at some point later on in the film. And then it comes at a point where it just seems a little, I don't know, dude, it just seems too convenient. And it kind of ties into my other point about this movie was you had Kumail Nanjiani and a few other characters talk about there are multiple times where this character Riza, something like that, is mentioned. Arms dealer, like head criminal, notorious criminal who like had a relationship or an affair with Chris Hemsworth's character. And like they were pretty, involved and something went awry, but you don't know what, and they won't talk about it. I mean, pretty good setup, right? Because they're teasing it and teasing it and teasing it and setting it up and setting it up. And so you're like, okay, this payoff is going to be amazing, right? And you have Kumail Nanjiani talking her up. She's the queen of death and blah, 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 and giving her all these like extravagant titles and saying, oh, she's super hot and like building her up. And then you see her and in the first like minute or two of her on screen and you're like trying to figure out, wait, what? Like who is that? Is that? And that's not good. And, I that's probably just a me problem. A lot of things are just a me problem. I get it. But like, if you're going to make that payoff better or bigger joke or whatever, and you have Kumail Nanjiani's character saying she's so hot and really talking her up, then she has to be either can go the one option is she's not hot at all, or she's hot for her species, but like us humans don't find her hot except for Chris Hemsworth. And she doesn't, you're looking at her and you're like, she doesn't fit the bill of like all these different titles. Like she's the queen of, like she's Daenerys Targaryen, Khaleesi. Like she has all these titles, breaker of chains, mother of dragons. Like if you give her that kind of treatment as a setup, the payoff needs to be, and this is a comedy, the payoff needs to be, she doesn't appear to be that at all. She just appears to be like a normal person or a normal alien. That such a thing exists to us humans. No, it's like they got this actress who, and she's a beautiful actress. Rebecca Ferguson, I think her name is. And she's had 2 major parts that I am familiar with or that I know of or heard of, but I haven't, she was in the 2 Mission Impossible films. I didn't watch those 2 Mission Impossible films. I know they did really well at the box office. So I guess the people who did see them probably got a kick of seeing her as the alien, as this boss alien. And apparently her character was supposed to die in the first Mission Impossible, but Tom Cruise like fell in love with her. Or no, he saw her in some play or something, and he was like, I need her in the next Mission Impossible. And then he's like so impressed with her performance there that he's like, don't kill her off, have her in the next movie. And it's like, that's not the same as if it was like, I'm throwing out a name, Angelina Jolie. Especially if Angelina Jolie is not billed at all in any of the marketing, that's the payoff. Like if you get a big name actress, huge name, Oprah, like someone who has got name recognition all over the world and wasn't billed as like she's in this movie, and you keep that secret, however you do that. I don't know how you do it these days, but then that's the great payoff. You're like, oh, what an amazing cameo. Like Tom Cruise in Tropic Thunder. Matthew McConaughey in Tropic Thunder. You know, it's like those, I don't think those actors or actresses were really that, I don't know. I don't know why that stuck out to me so much, but it was like, I see what you're going for and you didn't accomplish it. And then we never really got any like insight. That scene or interaction between them, those two, it was just felt so like glossed over. You've been talking about those motherfuckers, those two, that couple, the entire movie, dropping hints here and there. And then we finally get the scene where they're together. And it's just like, I'm going to kill them both. And then what happens? Oh, it turns out her bodyguard that looks a lot like the little alien character from the beginning. Oh, it's the same alien. And so Tessa Thompson throws out a line that she remembers from her childhood, and the big bodyguard alien remembers it from being a little alien and is like, oh, okay, well, now I'm at your service. Again, a little too easy. This dude, this bodyguard, has been bodyguarding this boss criminal for I don't know how long. I mean, he knows Hemsworth. Hemsworth knows him. It seems like they have some kind of like relationship there. And then it's just like, oh, you said the thing, so I'll kill her now. I need more emotional turmoil and conflict. You gave no real sense that he was willing, that he was on the precipice or brink of turning on her. And then you say this one line from like decades ago, and you're like, oh yeah, we had that brief little thing. Huh. All right, I'll kill her now. It's like, what? Yeah. So, I mean, you know, the ending is what it is. There's a mole in the Men in Black organization. Why she had to go to this is the other thing I don't understand, but it might be one of those Jason Takes Manhattan type angles. Like, we just got to get Men in Black out of New York City. Let's go to the UK. It's like Saved by the Bell goes to Hawaii, like that kind of thing. We just got to branch out and go international. And they never, and so, you know, I guess they kind of explain it at the end where it's like, that's why we sent you to the UK, because you have no affiliation with the UK and you haven't been there. So there's no way you could have been corrupted. We can trust you, etc. So I guess that made sense. But like, I don't know. It stinks. It just stinks. I mean, it's not a bad movie. I don't think it's that bad a movie. It's just like, if they just spend a little more time on it, developing the characters, the storyline, blah, 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 you know, we might get another one. I don't know that we're going to get another one now. And what really stinks is that this was supposed to be one of the greatest crossover events in movie history, in my mind. Because there were rumors, and maybe this was actually greenlit and went into production, but never turned out. You had 21 Jump Street, you had 22 Jump Street. People are like, yeah, we'll take a third one. Give us 23 Jump Street, right? And I don't know how long, 3 years ago, they were like, okay, we want to reboot Men in Black. We are going to combine Men in Black with 21 Jump Street. I mean, come on, dude. Who would not want to watch that? I'm a big fan of mashups, love mashups, and you got to believe that like that would have been like that might have been the top comedy movie of all time. I mean, you're getting the Men in Black audience, you're getting the 21 Jump Street audience, Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill, and whoever else wants to get on the bandwagon. Preferably comedy actors. Not friggin' Rafe and Liam Neeson. No offense to Liam, I love him, but like he's an action kind of guy. Get someone who's in comedy. If you're making a comedy, get comedic actors and actresses. It's that simple. Kudos to Chris Hemsworth. Wow, butchered that. Kudos to him for being able to adapt and do comedy, but like, get me people who are experts in comedy and pair them with Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum. I mean, it's almost impossible to fuck that up. And we never got it. And I don't know that we ever will now. And that sucks. But I still got sucked in to this movie just because of the soundtrack. And even though it didn't feature a lot of the same orchestral arrangements, I guess you'd say, than the first one, you still it hits that nostalgic part of your cerebellum or whatever, your membrane, and sends you to a different place. But goddamn, it feels like a big missed opportunity.